So I'm here with Louise Beaumont, who is the co-chair of the Open Banking and Payment Working Group of TechUK. And Louise, you have about 10 different jobs, and I love the way you summarize them, because you say, basically, you work with legislators and regulators to drive disruption, you work with fintechs to exploit disruption, and you work with corporates to cope with disruption. Did I say that properly?
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah.
Excellent. So you're at the heart of disruption, which is amazing. Can you tell me a little bit about disruption and how you think it's going? Because it seems to be the buzzword of the year. Tell me a little bit more about how you see disruption and how you find companies coping with disruption.
Imagining something better and then allowing it to happen, enabling it to happen.
That imagination starts with the consumer, right? I mean, companies like Uber and like Amazon are successful because they were consumer-centric.
They are obsessed with the consumer and working for that consumer in a way which is about that experience, the experience the person has. What's really interesting about what those two companies have done, and Uber is a perfect example, we've all experienced Uber, is that Uber works on a data flow from the consumer. So they have to persuade that consumer that they want to share their data with Uber. So tell Uber where I am and tell Uber what I want. And Uber then can work for me only as long as I keep that data stream open. So they have to win my willingness to... Trust is one word. Trust is a very loaded term. They have to win my willingness to share my data with them. And then by the service being good, I will maintain that open data flow to Uber so they know where I am and what I want, and they can come and get me when I ask them to, or bring me food or a helicopter, whatever it is I require at the time. And it is only by that open flow of data that they can deliver their service. So there is an onus on them to make sure that that service is always good. Compare that to the ill-named financial services industry, which typically doesn't provide a service. What it does is fire and forget products. I sell you a product and then there is no need for any service. Actually, the industry is called financial services. What they actually deliver, as they often describe them, is financial products, a very 20th century concept.
There's a lot of talk in the region and globally about disruption and about transformation. But what I often find is that companies are jumping on this bandwagon and saying they're transforming. But internally, they're not really doing that. So their corporate cultures remain the same, but they're just transforming on the outside through their branding, through their logo, through their messaging. So it ends up being like a woman who goes and gets a makeover. But her heart is the same, and her inside is the same, and her insecurity is the same. And
that lack of authenticity shines through. And people spot it.
See through that.
They might not do so overtly, but it doesn't resonate.
Correct.
And that lack of authenticity is toxic. So I see disruption, and it's what I think is, in the concept of imagination, is incredibly important, but people often see it as an opportunity for nothing more than some theatrical gloss.
Correct.
PR is theatre, rather than actually understanding at the core of what makes a service company great, and that you can't just change the logo or have your version of an Apple store, because it won't and never has made you Apple. It just makes you inappropriate.
And it makes you lose face.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, transformation comes from the inside, not from the outside.
It needs to be, it's the bit you never see. People, it's easy to look in on an industry from the outside and go, the thing that makes you great is the thing that I can see. The thing that makes you great is the thing you can never see. It is that culture, it is that heartbeat that makes that company what it is. And not all companies have a right to survive over a period of years or decades. Sometimes their time is over.